Franz Kafka, The Metamorphosis. Dive into the world of The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka, where the protagonist Gregor Samsa awakens one day transformed into a hideous insect-like creature. This tale explores themes of identity, alienation, family dynamics, and the struggle to adapt to an unfathomable change. You'll find yourself pondering Gregor's attempts to reconcile his new reality with memories of his old life and his efforts to maintain his connection to his family despite their fear and repulsion. At the same time, examine the responses of Gregor's family members amidst the chaos and uncertainty of their world turned upside down.
Metamorphosis. Gregor Samsa wakes up transformed into a hideous insect, but he worries more about being late for work than his bizarre condition. He agonizes over his arduous job, sleepless hotel stays, and superficial client relationships. The metamorphosis begins. Gregor wakes up one day to find himself transformed into a monstrous insect. He attempts to get out of bed and answer his family's inquiries, but to no avail. His parents knock on his door, eventually summoning his employer, the chief clerk, who expresses concern at his absence. Gregor tries to reassure the clerk of his loyalty, but his appearance causes panic in his family. His father drives him back into his room with a stick, and Gregor falls into a coma-like sleep. When he awakes, he finds sweetened milk and bread, but he turns away, disappointed. Gregor's selflessness. Gregor, after waking up in pain during his metamorphosis, decides to treat his family with patience and make the situation more bearable for them. He hardly thinks about his own future and is only concerned about his family. He takes pride in providing for them and is grateful when his sister, Greta, brings him food. However, she is disgusted by him and never speaks to him. Gregor spends most of his time hiding under the couch to spare his family's feelings, but when his sister spots him, she is terrified. Gregor's metamorphosis. A summary of the life of a man turned into a bug that has lost the love of his family. Gregor's father has been retired for over 5 years after his business crumbled, and he fills his days reading the newspapers. Gregor, a closer sibling with his sister Greta, loved listening to her play the violin and intended to finance her studies at the conservatory. But he notices that Greta has been visiting him less and less. As time goes by, Gregor's room becomes exceedingly dirty, and his body's roundness from overeating makes it tough for him to breathe in the small space. Feeling ostracized by his family, Gregor spends his days crawling up and down the ceiling or hanging from it. But even as he grows accustomed to these new means of mobility, he feels an urgent need for human contact. At times, when he senses an unusual sense of liberty, is the only time he feels pleased. The tragic reality of Gregor's family. Leaning against the door, Gregor eavesdrops on his family's muted conversations and realizes his insect existence has become their new normal. Later, he discovers that his father has a significant amount of cash left over from bankruptcy. However, it isn't enough for a carefree existence. To make ends meet, Gregor's family takes on menial jobs, breaking his heart as he always wanted to provide for them. The book highlights the tragic reality of how a once-providing son becomes a burden on his family and their struggle to make ends meet. The power shift. Gregor's sister, Greta, becomes his representative, controlling who visits him and when. She even insists on removing furniture from his room to aid his mobility. But in doing so, she asks her mother for help, meaning Gregor's mother sees him in his new form for the first time. Though Gregor is relieved his mother didn't bear witness to him, he can't help but feel remorseful about his family's situation, and how it's shifted power to his younger sibling. Trapped by possessions. While trapped as an insect, Gregor fears losing the few things that still make him feel like himself, including a picture of a lady in a fur coat and a ceiling from which he used to hang. But when his mother briefly leaves the room, he sees an opportunity to act before it's too late. Tragic end. A family's once beloved son, Gregor, is despised after transformed into a bug, leading to his eventual death. Even after his mother's recovery, his violent father starts to throw apples at him, causing unbearable agony. The family treats Gregor as if he was a burden, ultimately leading to his death. The metamorphosis of the family. Gregor endures great physical and emotional pain and loses his mobility after his family stops caring for him following an incident. Despite their indifference, Gregor believes that his injury has prompted change in his family. They talk openly about their finances in front of him, and his father, mother, and sister take up work to improve their economic situation. However, his room becomes increasingly filthy as Greta neglects it, only caring when her mother cleans it instead. Through their actions, Gregor contends that his family has become increasingly preoccupied with their jobs and material possessions. The Metamorphosis Tragedy. The summary encapsulates the dramatic demise of a man turned into an insect named Gregor, in Franz Kafka's book. Gregor had a deep-seated yearning for the music played by his sister, Greta. One day, the tenants rent a room in their flat, and Gregor leaves his room crawling. They see him, and the tenants, disgusted with his appearance, give notice to stay no longer. Greta suggests that they should stop referring to the bug as Gregor. In his room, Gregor feels useless and a source of horror for his family. The next day, the cleaning lady finds his lifeless body, and the family decides to take a break. As they move farther away from their home, they feel more alive and vibrant, and eventually, they realize that it's time to marry Greta to a wealthy man.
In conclusion, Kafka's The Metamorphosis imparts a powerful message about the challenges faced by individuals and families amidst profound transformations. Through Gregor Samsa's transformation and his family's reactions to it, the story delves into the essence of humanity and the boundaries of our identity. As the tale unfolds, readers witness each character's struggles and compromises, effectively conveying the complexities of life's unexpected twists. Ultimately, the metamorphosis encourages us to ponder our own sense of identity, our relationships with others, and the fragile balance between normality and the unknown.